In this video, we will be documenting a return from offsite encounter. So once the patient returns from their offsite appointment, they will be brought to triage for the nurse to assess. So the first thing you want to do is search for your patient. You're going to select the patient. And then from the hub, you want to create the outpatient return appointment. So we're going to click on New Appointment. And then you'll create an appointment as usual. Your resource is going to be triage. And then your provider is going to be your on-call provider or the triage provider. The visit type is going to be outpatient return. And then you're going to click OK, and it's going to schedule the appointment. We're going to close the patient hub and then navigate to the corrections band and to the clinical visit console. And then per usual, you can filter out your console so that you're only looking at the appointments that you want to see. So then you could select the outpatient return appointment, but my appointment for my patient is up at the top. So I'm going to mark the box next to the patient's name, update the appointment. I'm going to check my patient in, always update to the current date and time, and then click OK. Once my patient is checked in, I'm going to click on their name once to enter the progress note. You want to obtain the vital signs for the patient. So where it says objective, we're going to click on vitals. And then your current appointment is going to be highlighted in yellow. So you'll just double click in this area and then document. When you're done documenting the vital signs, you want to click on the box that says vitals taken and then close the vitals window. Next thing you want to do is locate your SF button, and then we're going to complete the return from offsite smart form. Answer all of the questions from the return from offsite, and remember that if the patient is a female and they are being seen as a result of a childbirth or a spontaneous abortion, you want to specify that. When you're done completing the smart form, you want to click Save and close when it tells you that the data was saved successfully. On the right chart panel, you want to click on the DRTLA tab. And you want to locate the appropriate referral. We're going to open up this referral. And we want to make sure we change the status from pending to address. This patient is now returning. Once you change the status, you're going to click OK. If there are no orders for this patient suggested from the outpatient appointment or from the ER visit, then you can lock this note, return to the clinical visit console, and check the patient out. If there are orders, once you check the patient out, we need to also create a telephone encounter for the provider to address the orders. So we're going to lock our note. Always run the clinical rules engine. Yes, we're sure we want to lock the encounter. We're going to return to the corrections band and go to clinical visit console. Here we can mark the box next to their name and check our patient out. If the patient has orders, we can simply select the patient, mark the box next to their name, and then select Patient Hub. This way we can create a new telephone encounter for the provider to place the orders. So we want to click on New Telephone Encounter. We are going to assign this telephone encounter to the provider on site or our on-call provider. Our reason is going to be TVO stat orders. And then down in the action taken window, we're going to click on action taken, and then we are going to list the medications that the patient was suggested or be started on for them to continue. If a stat dose of medication is to be given to the patient at the time that they return, you're going to contact the provider so that they can authorize the order for the stat medication, and you'll still take the same steps and include that stat dose. We're going to click OK after we add the list of medications. If additional documentation is needed, you can click on virtual visit and then enter the progress note to complete the rest of your documentation. Otherwise, you'll click OK, and that will send the telephone encounter to the provider. Any paper documentation that was sent from the facility back to the jail with the patient, once reviewed by the nurse and the provider, would be scanned into the medical record. So you would just drop the documentation into the red bin for the clerk to pick up. If the patient is deceased at the hospital, the provider will then need to mark the patient as deceased in ECW. So from the patient hub, they would click on info. And under patient information, we would click on additional information. And you're going to mark the box next to where it says deceased for the patient, and then click OK. If the patient is admitted to the hospital, when they return from offsite, they will be transported to DC Infirmary before going to their home jail, if their home jail is not the detention center. That concludes this video.